Brothers and sisters, it's your brother Koto Prosper Dion of Change Africa Movement. I'm the Director of Policy and Research for Educate Ghana Summit. I'm a counselor by profession and an educationist. Last 2 weeks, we spoke about the need to abolish the writing of Basic Education Certificate Examination, B.E.C.E, here in Ghana. I spoke in the Akan language, and so many requested for the English version, and I'm here to give you that. What we said was B.E.C.E, Basic Education Certificate Examination, is an examination written by pupils in grade 9, which is JHS 3 here, to determine who qualifies to enter a senior high school and who does not. It is also used to determine who qualifies for the well-resourced schools and who doesn't qualify. And that is why we are saying it is so discriminatory, and therefore it must be expunged. It must be abolished with immediate effect. Why are we saying so? This exams is written by all students across the country. They all write the same exams within the same period. Yet, there are a lot of people in the rural areas who do not even have electricity. A lot of people in the rural areas who do not even have teachers. A lot of people in the rural areas who have never even seen a computer before. A lot of people in the villages who have never even seen a mobile phone before. A lot of people in the village who do not know what is called internet, let alone talking of social media. There are a lot of people in the hinterlands who have never seen a television set before. A lot of people have never watched TV before. And therefore, when you put all these people on the same pedal, the same level with the people in the city centers and in the towns where they have all the resources, you put all of them together to write the same exams, and based on the outcome of the exams, you use it to determine who qualifies for a well-resourced school and who doesn't. You use it to determine who qualifies to enter high school and who doesn't qualify to move on. If this is not discrimination, if this is not human right abuse, the child's right to education, tell me what it is then. We've done this over a long period of time, but better late than never. COVID-19 has come. Let's use that opportunity to expunge the writing of B.E.C.E from the system. Okay? Because the person in the city who has access to computer, who has access to teachers, who has access to the internet, the television and everything, and has a lot of information, going to write the same exams with somebody with absolutely no knowledge about what is going on even in the country or in the town nearby. Come on, that is a serious crime against these kids. Okay? The worst thing is that after they write these exams, you now use the results to determine the future of these kids. So, the people in my village where I schooled, who do not have teachers, who do not have any resource, they've never seen computer or TV before, and therefore manage to have, just a little a credit or an average pass. Instead of we clapping for them and even giving them the best schools in the city so that we can come and polish them and make them better off, we say no. Because they were unable to outperform those in the cities, you are going to push them into the poor schools, high schools. You're going to push them into the poorly resourced high schools so that they will go in there and rot. What good do you do to the people? If you claim you want literacy rates in the country to increase, why are you causing so much harm to the people in the village, whom by no means of theirs decided to be in the village? All of us cannot be in the cities. So if because I schooled in the village and therefore I am not able to get distinction in the exams, you claim because I couldn't get distinction in the village, you don't care where I schooled. You don't care that I never had teachers or I never had resources. You are still going to judge me the same way as you judge the person in the city who had everything. And therefore you say, because I get grade 20, I get grade 25, I get grade 30, you will not allow me to enter any of the best schools in the country. You will not allow me to enter any of the early schools in the country. You will not allow me to enter any of the first class schools in the country. Rather, because I perform poorly, you are going to place me and force me to attend one of the poor high schools in the country. Why should you give me this judgment? What crime have the people in the villages committed to deserve this kind of punishment? What crime have they committed? Because the sad thing is that when we meet, because I schooled in the village, I wrote my B.E.C.E in the village, a typical village, no electricity, 2 teachers. Okay, when we completed and entered high school, we didn't get any good high school. Man, it's a mess. Serious. We need to abolish B.E.C.E. We've been through a mess. We've been through hell before we got into where we are today. And when I see most of the fine brains in my class back in the village who couldn't enter the high schools because they were denied, because they didn't perform well, which is of no fault of theirs. Sometimes when I remember in my secret room, I weep for them, because there were a lot of them who were extremely intelligent than me. But today, they are all in the villages. Some are drivers, some are, because they all lost it. They couldn't continue because they were given extremely poor schools. How do you expect me to come out better when my performance is low and you place me in the poor school with no resources? How do you expect me to come out better? Tell me, how do you expect me to become better off? How do you expect me to compete equally with the people you place in the well-resourced schools? Because after the high school, we are all going to fight for the tertiary institution, the few tertiary institutions in the country as well. And they're also going to depend on our results. So I didn't do well in my B.E.C.E because I schooled in the village. I had no teachers and resources. You placed me in a poor high school with no resources. And you still expect me to outperform over there so that I can compete with those you put in the well-resourced high schools. So I can compete with them equally for a selection into a tertiary institution. Come on, what kind of barbarism is this? I don't know. Is education in our part of the world a punishment? Is it a crime to be in the village? Did we decide who should give birth to us? Did we decide where we should be born? Did we decide the kind of families to be born into? If we didn't take such decisions, and we are all equal before the law, and we all have equal right to education, and not just education, but quality education, why then do you punish us so much because we are coming from the villages, because we schooled in the villages? Okay, that is why we are calling on the government to abolish the writing of B.E.C.E. Fortunately for us, COVID-19 has come. It has interrupted all educational systems, Now, all the grade 9 students or candidates have been registered. And so they have their biodata with Ghana Education Service. Their biodata is with WAEC, West African Examination Council. So all the government ought to do now is to take the database from Ghana Education Service, that is their candidates' biodata, and give it to the CSSPS, the Computer Placement Center, so that from September they place all these candidates at random. Place all of them at random to all the schools. When you do this, you are going to avoid the discrimination against the people in the village. Because with this random placement, without using results, without using examination, what will be the effect? Number one, a lot of people in the village will also get a chance to attend the middle and the first class schools as well. And the people in the city who are extremely good already may also get some of the poor schools. So there will be this balance in the system. Hence, there will be no discrimination. Why don't we do this? So that the people in the village will get opportunity to also attend some of the best schools in the country, in order to come out best, so they can go back to their villages and help change lives over there. In our part of the world, a lot of people may say they do not agree with me, they have to write exams. You see, in our part of the world, Africa, the reason why we are not progressing is because everything in Africa is about examination. Our educational system is so bogus. Yes, I'm a teacher. I'm saying it's so bogus because everything about the school system is examination. So the child can stay home for the whole term, come and write mid-term examination, and go back home, never come and return to school, come and write end of term examination, and then get an average pass, and then he's gone. So you don't need to be in classroom all the time because it's just purely exams. Pick the past question books, read, you go and write exams and pass, and they said you are the best students on earth, and then you go away. What kind of education is this? We are too much of examination oriented. Everything exams, everything exams. Why? What kind of country is this? What kind of country is this? Why can't we start basic school right from kindergarten or nursery or preschool, and for the student to continue to the high school before they sit for national exams, and then we place them? Then they compete for the tertiary institutions. This is the only way to increase the literacy rate in the country. Okay, when we do this, we also avoid the discrimination. My main concern, and our concern as Educate Ghana Summit, is that if you've ever traveled to some of the villages, some of the rural areas, or you've ever schooled there, you will know the hell I am talking about. You will understand what I'm saying. It's so sad. It's so pathetic. Let's stop using examination, B.E.C.E, to judge these young kids. Because most of them during exams time, they become traumatized because they know they don't have teachers, they don't have resources, and they are going to compete equally with the people in the city. So they know things will not go well for them automatically. So most of them give up. Most of them go through a lot of trauma to write exams. When the result comes, most of them some even commit suicide. Others start learning trade. Others start getting some land and start farming because they know they can't continue because the results will be poor, and it's of no fault of theirs. So why don't we take the B.E.C.E out so that when they get to grade 9, we register all of them, and they use their bio data to place them at random to all the schools in Ghana, so that there will be even distribution of the candidates. Secondly, we need to stop classifying the high schools. As we speak now, the high schools have been classified into 5 categories. Category A, these are the well-resourced schools, or the early schools, or the best schools, and they are reserved for the best students in the cities. Because most of the best students in the rural areas are those who get grade 15, 20 and above, and therefore they do not qualify for this grade A or category A or the early schools. They don't qualify for it. So you've classified the schools as grade A, early schools, and it's only for those who outperform the so-called academically brilliant students, and it is mainly those from the cities and towns and not the rural areas. So already you've sidelined the people in the village. You are telling them you don't qualify for these best schools. Now you come to category B. These are the moderately resourced schools, and again you depend on the qualification, the exams, to place people into the moderately resource schools, and therefore most of the students do not qualify to be in such schools. The students in the village do not qualify to be in the average or moderately resource schools. Then you come to category C schools, the schools that are poor. Okay, schools that are poor, they don't have any resources. Then you come to D, the day schools, the schools with no boarding facilities and those things. And these are the C and the D are the schools you place the people from the villages. These are where the places you dump them, as if it is a prison, as if it is a curse to school in the village. You place them in this poor or low graded school, which you GES, you have graded the schools, you and WAEC have graded the schools, and you place these students there. You think something good will come out? We are not doing this nation any good. Then the E schools are the private schools, where the people in the village again cannot afford the expensive private schools. So what are we doing to these youngsters? It's about time we stop discriminating against these kids. It's about time, because of this discrimination and the result we are looking for, what happens is that during the B.E.C.E exams, almost all the schools resort to examination malpractices. They find every means to get examination papers ahead of time. They cheat during the exams. Teachers enter the exams hall to go and teach their students so that they can pass well and get the best schools. I'm telling you on a fact, because I'm a teacher and I know what I'm saying, and a lot of teachers can attest to this. So the people in my village who do not have teachers who will even help them cheat in the exams, as for them, they are worse off, because they will fail miserably. Because the people in the city with all the resources, they still cheat. Teachers go to the exams hall to teach them so that they can pass well. They get questions. The questions they are going to write, they get it a week or 2 weeks ahead of time, and they prepare so well. So they go and write and pass